Hi, I'm Jennifer Chin, and this is the story of how I learned that sometimes life's greatest opportunities come disguised as rock-bottom moments. 3 years ago, I was exactly where my parents wanted me to be. A senior financial analyst at a prestigious firm, living up to the Chin family's reputation for excellence. But fate had other plans. Ones that would teach me more about success, family, and self-worth than any corporate job ever could. The Chin name carried weight in Singapore's business circles. My father, Michael Chin, had built Chin Global Investments from nothing, turning it into a $200 million firm through sheer determination and ruthless business acumen. My younger sister, Victoria, was following perfectly in his footsteps, excelling at Harvard Business School, while I maintained the family's reputation in Singapore. Jennifer, appearances are everything, Mom would remind me constantly, straightening my designer blazer or critiquing my choice of restaurants. We're Chins. We have standards to maintain. Those standards became a noose around my neck the day everything changed. I still remember sitting in that sterile conference room watching my entire career implode, because I refused to falsify reports for a corrupt client. My boss's words still echo in my head. You're either a team player, Jennifer, or you're nothing. Pack your things. I thought my parents would understand. Maybe even be proud that I'd chosen ethics over profit. I was wrong. You did what? Dad's voice could have frozen hell. That night, we sat in his mahogany-paneled office, the Singapore skyline twinkling beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. Do you have any idea what this will do to our reputation? Mom paced behind his desk, her Louboutins clicking against the hardwood. All the best families sent their children to work there. Now everyone will be talking about how Michael Chin's daughter couldn't cut it. I didn't fail, I tried to explain. They wanted me to commit fraud. Then you should have been smarter about it, Dad snapped, slamming his fist on the desk. Found a legal way around it. That's what I taught you. What your sister understands. He picked up his phone, scanning messages. Victoria just got accepted into an exclusive MBA study group. At least one of my daughters understands what it takes to succeed. The comparison stung, but I held my ground. I won't compromise my principles, Dad. Not even for the family name. His laugh was bitter. Principles? Try paying your bills with principles. You have two choices. Either I call Robert at Morgan Stanley and get you a new position, or you figure this out yourself. But if you choose the second option, don't expect any help from us. My legs trembled, but my voice was steady. Then I choose option 2. Jennifer, don't be foolish, Mom gasped. Think about your future. I am thinking about my future, Mom. Just not the one you planned for me. I walked out of that office knowing I'd just burned bridges I might never rebuild. What I didn't know was how hard things would get. The next 6 months were a lesson in humility. My savings dwindled as I searched for work. My once pristine resume became a liability. Everyone in Singapore's financial sector had heard about my ethical stance, and doors closed before I could even knock. First went my designer wardrobe, sold piece by piece to pay rent. Then my luxury apartment. Finally, my pride. That's how I found myself in the lobby of Eclipse Towers at 11 p.m., wearing a cleaner's uniform and pushing a cart of supplies. The job wasn't glamorous, but it was honest, and the night shift paid extra. With 200 floors of offices, there was always work. You'll start on the executive floors, Mrs. Wong, the cleaning supervisor, instructed on my first night. Most important client, Marcus J.O. Private elevator, whole top floor. Everything must be perfect. I nodded, trying to remember if I'd heard the name before. He's never here at night, Mrs. Wong continued, but his office must be spotless. Understanding the value of unseen work. That's what separates the good cleaners from the great ones. Her words would prove prophetic, though I didn't know it then. For 3 months, I cleaned that office every night, taking pride in details no one would notice. Dusting the rare books in his library, arranging the orchids with precision, ensuring his desk was immaculate. Sometimes I paused by the windows, looking out at the city I once viewed from my own office, wondering if I had made the right choice. And then came the night that changed everything. I was polishing Marcus Shaw's desk when I noticed something odd. A stack of documents about Chin Global Investments, my father's company. My hands trembled as I read the top page. Proposed hostile takeover, Chin Global Investments. The documents detailed years of my father's questionable dealings, leveraged investments that were about to implode, and a carefully orchestrated plan to acquire the company for pennies on the dollar. My family was about to lose everything, and they didn't even know it. I should have walked away. After all, they had disowned me, made it clear I was no longer part of the family. But something made me take out my phone and start documenting everything. For the next week, I spent every night analyzing those documents, using my financial background to untangle the complex web of transactions. I created detailed notes, found patterns, and identified weaknesses in the takeover plan. I didn't know what I would do with this information, but I knew I had to do something. Then came my sister's graduation party. Victoria had completed her MBA with honors, and my parents were throwing an extravagant celebration at the Ritz-Carlton. I wasn't invited, of course, but I knew about it after overhearing the cleaning staff discussing the event. I decided to go anyway, wearing the only decent outfit I had left. At the entrance, the security guard took one look at me and started to block my way. "She's the help," my mother's voice cut in. She had been greeting guests nearby. "Jennifer, the service entrance is around back. If you must be here, at least don't embarrass us further." I swallowed my pride and walked around to the service entrance. From the kitchen, I could hear the celebrations through the walls. My father's proud speech about Victoria's achievements, the applause, the clinking of champagne glasses. Then a familiar face appeared. Mrs. Wong. I blinked. "Jennifer? What are you doing here?" I didn't know you handled events too." She smiled kindly. "There's a lot you don't know about me, dear. Just like there's a lot they don't know about you." Before I could ask what she meant, another figure entered the kitchen. A tall, distinguished man with gray temples and piercing eyes. I recognized him immediately from the photos in his office. Marcus. He looked straight at me and smiled. "Hello, Jennifer. I believe we need to talk about those documents you've been studying in my office." My heart stopped. I'd been caught. The kitchen fell silent. Mrs. Wong, who I now realized must be more than just a cleaning supervisor, quietly ushered the staff out, leaving me alone with Marcus Shaw. "I'm sorry," I began, my voice trembling. "I know I shouldn't have." He held up a hand, his expression unreadable. 3 months ago, I installed hidden cameras in my office after sensitive documents went missing. Want to know what I saw? My heart sank. This was it. I'd be fired, possibly arrested. But instead his next words shocked me. I saw someone who spent extra hours analyzing complex financial documents. Someone who caught details my own team missed. Someone who, despite having every reason to want revenge, tried to save her family's company. He smiled. "The question is, why?" The truth spilled out before I could stop it. "Because they're still my family. Even if they don't see me that way anymore." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. Then he pulled an envelope from his jacket. "Mrs. Wong, or as I know her, our head of human intelligence, has been watching you for months. Your night shift wasn't an accident, Jennifer. It was a test." My mind reeled. "A test?" "I've spent 2 years looking for someone to lead our new Asian division," Marcus continued. "Someone with both financial expertise and integrity. Someone who understands that true leadership isn't about power or status. It's about doing what's right even when it costs you everything." He handed me the envelope. "Inside you'll find 2 things. First," Marcus said, "proof that I've quietly been buying Chin Global shares through shell companies. As of this morning I own 51%. Second, a contract making you CEO of both Chin Global and our new Asian division, with full authority to implement any changes you see fit." I stared at him, speechless. He continued, "Your father's company is indeed in trouble, but not beyond saving. With the right leadership, Chin Global could recover. The question is, what will you do with this power?" Before I could answer, the kitchen door burst open. Victoria stood there, champagne glass in hand, her perfect Harvard smile freezing the instant she saw me. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "Mom said you were just here to clean." She stopped mid-sentence, her eyes landing on Marcus. "Mr. Shaw, I didn't know you'd arrived. Please come join us. Don't let my sister bother you." Marcus's smile was polite but cold. "Actually, I'm here to discuss business with your sister. Would you mind asking your parents to join us? Privately?" The confrontation. Minutes later, we were seated in a private dining room. My parents, Victoria, Marcus, and me. Dad looked tense. Mom avoided my gaze. Victoria fidgeted with her empty glass. "What's this about?" Dad demanded, his eyes darting between Marcus and me. Marcus gestured for me to speak. Taking a deep breath, I opened the envelope and spread the documents across the table. Chin Global is 3 months away from collapse, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. The L investment was a trap. The Singapore Heights project is hemorrhaging money. And the Ian deal? A front for money laundering. Dad's face went pale. How did you? Because while you were busy being ashamed of me, I cut in, I was watching your company implode from the outside. But here's the thing, I found a way to save it. I explained everything. The fraudulent clients I had refused to help, how they were tied to the current crisis, and most importantly, the plan to restructure and recover. By God, Dad's voice cracked. He turned to Marcus. Mr. Shaw, why are you involved in this? Marcus stood. Because your daughter impressed me. Not the one with the Harvard degree, the one with the courage to choose integrity over status. That's why, as majority shareholder, I'm appointing Jennifer as CEO of Chin Global. Effective immediately. The room exploded. Victoria dropped her glass. Mom burst into tears. Dad just sat there stunned. You can't do this. Victoria shouted. I'm the one with the qualifications. I'm the one who what? I cut her off. Who followed the path of least resistance. Who never questioned whether success at any cost was worth it. I turned to my parents. You taught us that the Chin name means something. But somewhere along the way, you forgot what it should mean. Then for the first time I laid out my vision. Transparent accounting, ethical investment strategies, and a complete restructuring of corrupt departments. We can be profitable without being predatory, I said. Successful without being soulless. Dad listened in silence. Finally he spoke. And if we oppose this? Marcus's answer was firm. Then the evidence of financial misconduct goes straight to the authorities. Your choice. The next hour was tense. Negotiations, tears, and at last reluctant acceptance. By midnight I was officially CEO of Chin Global Investments. The aftermath. As we left the hotel, Marcus turned to me. You could have taken revenge. Why didn't you? I watched my family filing out through the grand entrance, their world forever changed. Because sometimes, I said softly, the best revenge is showing people a better way. The next year was grueling but transformative. Under my leadership, Chin Global not only survived, it thrived. We became known for ethical investment practices while maintaining strong profits. Victoria eventually joined the legal compliance team, where her attention to detail proved invaluable. Mom stopped talking about appearances and started asking about impact. Dad finally told me he was proud. Not of our profits, but of our principles. Mrs. Wong, now my chief of operations, still teases me about my time as a cleaner. Sometimes, she says with a smile, you have to clean up the mess to see what's worth saving. Last week, while moving offices, I found my old cleaner's uniform. I had it framed and hung in my executive suite. It reminds me that success isn't about status or family names. It's about staying true to yourself, even when you're standing alone. Because sometimes rock bottom is just the foundation for something better. Today, Chin Global is valued at $500 million. But our true worth isn't measured in market value, it's in our integrity. Every morning I walk past the cleaning staff and remember where this journey began. Some of them are now part of our new employee education program, studying finance and business while they work. After all, you never know which cleaner might turn out to be your next CEO.